All right, welcome back. Hopefully you guys listened to our last episode, and that's why you're here now to listen to the hunt highlight. Brooks, we didn't do the Brooks say what's up on the last episode. Brooks, say what's up.
Hello, everyone.
There he is. Yeah,
We got a good one today.
This is a good one. It's juicy, real juicy. Yeah, we haven't recorded up until tonight. It's been like 3 weeks, and so there's been a lot of hunting on my part. Brooks, not a whole lot of hunting.
No hunting, just fall softball champions.
Hey, there's something there. Something to be proud of there.
Longest softball home run of my life. That was cool.
A real champion. So
we got t-shirts and everything.
Oh man. Anyways, no, I'll have to. So I have had success this year, Brooks. We mentioned it on the last episode. I have had success.
So we are not just hikers with a bow.
Not hikers with a bow. I'm not a tree climber with a bow.
You're not a tree climber with. Oh, last year you shot that doe last year, so.
True, that's true. Well, this year, no tag soup this year.
No tag soup. No soup for you.
Yeah, so I'll have to think. So it had to have been that week after we recorded the last episode. Like right away that week. So we'll jump to that one. I can't remember if I went out. I think I had only gone out to that. No. I take that back. So I went out like Monday or Tuesday, whatever, of that week. And I walked in. I had my camera up. I don't know. We did talk about this. I pulled my camera because I was freaking over it. The command app was terrible, so I pulled that camera, that stealth cam. So no, I had not sat in this tree, or I had sat in this area once. It was about 40, 50, well, no, 50 plus yards from that tree that I had talked about last time that we talked about me hunting. Just a little bit more down this trail that these deer were taking. I did have my SD card camera set up on this entry into the ag field, and it's just like a nice crossing. So there's this access road that the farmer or whatever property managers of this place use or can use, used to use, I don't know. But so there's bean field, a line of trees like 5 to 10 foot thick, and another opening that's this access road, and then back to woods again. And perpendicular to that, there's just this like 5 foot wide cut in that the deer have made of. They're just going back and forth, in and out of the bean field, to and from bed, and then one way is going towards water. So one way's to the beans, one way's to the water and their bed. So they were using that spot real heavy. They cut that trail themselves, and so following that trail, I followed that trail going in on Thursday, the day of this hunt, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go back in there, and if I find a spot along where these deer are following this trail that I feel confident about, I'm gonna sit it and just see. And so, and part of the reason was I had checked that SD camera after I had pulled the stealth cam also, and I just swapped the SD in there. And so when I went and checked it, I was like, you know, I'm just getting consistent deer movement. There's not a ton of daylight. There's one or two good bucks that are going through there. There's a couple small bucks, but like they're using this path a decent amount. So I'm just gonna sit as close to that trail as I can and just see what happens. So I go in there. I make it 10 yards and up this trail, and 20, and it's just a straight like interstate junction of trails. Like There's one cut path. There's another old access road, like a 4-wheeler access trail that has overgrown, but the deer still use it. You can tell. And
Mm,
it's like 3 or 4 different directions, deer trails. And there was
mm,
sign, like there was a bunch of deer scat and everything. So it was like, man, I would be a fool to not sit at this intersection because there was another big opening going out to the water. There's that main trail that or that 4-wheeler trail, and there were like 2 or 3 different smaller deer trails. And it's like, man, I would be a fool to not just sit here and see what direction they come from because they could come from any direction sitting right here.
right.
And if I get blown at, I get blown at, but I have a pretty good chance of them coming any other direction than from downwind of me. So like they're gonna come from upwind of me. And so I sat there, nothing, nothing, nothing. Did not see a single thing all night. And then it was maybe 3 minutes before sunset. So I still had like 33 minutes of shooting light. And man, I've said it before and I'll say it till I'm dead. This stuff that I'm hunting in is so thick that like you have like very little time to see something, react, and like get yourself ready and decide and hunt and like make the shot. Like I was sitting there and I heard just like a small rustle of leaves. I was like, I haven't heard anything. There's no squirrels around, so it's probably not a squirrel. That's got to be a deer. And sure enough, I look up and up this 4-wheeler trail, I see little tiny forks.
Mhm.
Like he's feeding and walking, feeding, walking. I'm like, it's go time. So I hit the GoPro up top. I had it set up above me, hit that GoPro and grab my bow. And like I said, this spot was so thick that like he got 15 yards probably from me. And I drew immediately. I'm like, I'm just going to draw and hold. And hopefully he comes into a spot that I've got him. And, um, he just keeps coming down that trail. And I don't know where he was gonna go, but man, he just came and came and came, and he got perfect to this opening. And then there's this tree that I either needed to take my shot before or after that tree because it was just wide enough that and had some limbs hanging down that I needed before or after. I couldn't cut it too close to this tree, and so
Mhm.
um, he decided to kind of turn a little bit to kind of maybe go up towards the water. And so I was like, man, this is the first shot opportunity I've had at a deer that I'm like actually ready for. I'm gonna take it. I don't care that he's a fork. And so I'd give him the mat, and man, he stopped perfect. Looked like perfect broadside, and I'm I'm holding, and I might have held on him for a total of 3 seconds, and the 2.5 seconds of that or more because I was held before that and I was trying to look through my peep sight and my freaking peep was twisted like almost sideways.
Good.
And I was like, I don't have time to let down, fix it, and redraw. And thankfully, I'm not saying this is like what everybody should do, but like thankfully, I've had a few times where I've been sighting in or just practicing whatever, and I'm just going and making good shots, and I don't really notice it, but my peep is kind of twisted, and I'll still execute that shot, and just
Right.
to be like, okay, it might happen, so let's go with it. Well, thank goodness I've done that and didn't have like a total freak out and have to let down everything. So I was like, you know what? I can kind of see, like, I can definitely see my pins because I shoot both eyes open. And I'm like, I can see my pins. He is 5 yards from the tree.
Mm.
And so it's a pretty steep angle. I'm like, he's perfect broadside, walking. I got to stop him. I can see my pin really well. Let's just go for it. And so man, stop him. Perfect broadside. Let it go. And man, just like the purest whack, like like heavy whack sound. And he gave the mule kick and he ran up that trail towards the water. And then I could hear him. I couldn't see him at all because there's this like briar thicket that he went like around, and I thought he like went into it. Ends up he went like kind of around it. But then he goes and it was like big crash. And I was like, all right, that's good. That's really good. And so, um, go to check the film. It sounded good, felt good, everything was right. Go to check the GoPro, download it to the phone, and man, it looks so good. And I started like texting people, like I hit one, I hit a buck. It looks really good. The shot looks good. The shot looked pretty good. The GoPro, I sent you the clip of that right on the go
Yep.
from the GoPro.
Yeah, you set me up.
The way I had it set up, it was just the GoPro was stationary, and I didn't really like check like the angles of everything if I were to draw and like where I would need to shoot to stay like make it a good shot, like good
Hmm.
film.
Yeah.
Well, the way I had it set up and when I turned, my quiver like just barely blocked like three-fourths of him, and you could barely see like the front quarter of him. So a little bit behind the leg, and then also that GoPro just does not do great in lower light, and so
Sure.
like we were right at sunset basically, and so it was a little bit overcast, so it was getting a little bit dark, and man, you couldn't hardly see, and it was like, man, it sounded so good, and like the shot height looks really good, everything like sounds right, looks right. I'm just not 100% sure, and I couldn't see my arrow. And I was like, what the heck? That had to have passed through. Like, there's no way. I'm shooting 715 grains with
Hmm.
200 up front on the broadhead. Shout out to the RF 200 single bevel with bleeders. I'm like, man, I got 200 grains up front on a single bevel on a 715 grain setup. That thing, there's no way it didn't go through him. It was a little buck. Like he's not a dense dude. All right, it had to have gone through. So I make a couple phone calls, call dad, text some people. I'm like, all right, I got one. I'm gonna give it some time. I thought I heard him crash, but I'm just gonna wait. Finally get down and I go to where the shot was. What had happened, my arrow did go through him full pass through. My arrow was sitting 8 inches into the soil, like deep. I was like, all right, that's pretty sweet. Like lot of momentum going through him, a lot of energy going through. Well, what had happened, I think it hit the ground so hard, it exploded my knock. It was a lighted knock. And so it just blew it out. Like, so like the battery was still left in it, but there was no bulb or anything. So like
Yeah.
it looked like somebody like chopped it off and it was just like broken. So there was no light, but obviously full pass through. And so I'm looking, uh one of the veins fell off, which is whatever. I think part of it was, I'll kind of give you the breakdown later, but a vein fell off and all the blood was like really pink, bubbly. I'm like, I mean, you know, based on the film, had to have been lung. It was far enough forward. It's definitely lung. So I'm pretty excited. I'm like, all right, hopefully it wasn't just single because it was a pretty steep shot. 5 yards was probably at most all he was. So hopefully it wasn't too steep to where it was just single lung. All right, I'm gonna look for a little bit of blood, make sure it's like actually what I think it is. I'm walking. I can't find blood. I'm like, okay, I obviously hit him, but where is this blood? And I go 10 yards up the way that he went, and I'm looking, like taking my time, a good like 3 to 5 minutes of getting this 10 yards covered. And I'm looking for blood, looking for blood. I see a little bit, and it's like, yeah, I mean, that looks pretty pink, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's see if I can find another good spurt somewhere. I take like three more steps, and I hear some like rustling. I was like, there is no way I just bumped this bug. I let it sit for 30 minutes. I sat in that tree for 30 minutes after what I'm pretty sure had to have been a double lung.
Yeah.
And I just bumped this deer. Are you kidding me? And so, like, all of a sudden, like, I was like on high to, I just bumped this deer. I'm screwed. Like, who knows how far he could have just gone. And so I back out. Like, I'm like freaking out. So I text Tanner. I'm like, dude, I think I bumped him. I'm gonna back out, take my stuff to the truck. I'm gonna give him another like I'm gonna take all my stuff to the truck and then come back. That should take 30 to 45 minutes. So he should be dead by the time I get back. He's like, all right, wait for me. I'll be there. So Tanner meets me there. and he comes out. We go out, show him the blood, show him the arrow. All dude, this looks so good. I'm having a hard time thinking he didn't die. All right, yeah, me too. Let's check. Get to where I bumped him, and I go another like 3 steps, and it's like, okay, there's good blood there. Oh, there's good blood. Huh, I can't really see blood. I know he went this way. I know what tree he was by. I go up there and I look, and there's like this big strip of blood like up on like a bush. I'm like, that's really good. And he's like, yeah, that's really good. And I look up and I look around. I'm like, I think he went that way. He had to have gone that way. I take another step. Oh yeah, there's blood. And then I look up again, and he was just like right behind a little bit thicker part, and he's like, there he is, yeah, baby. So get up to it. Like there's no whatever I had heard, it couldn't have been him kicking
Mhm.
because like there was a pool there. And
Yeah.
so like there was no way that was him. There were other deer around when I was still up in the tree. So I think they were just moving through and they happened to be there, and I might have bumped one and it was just a different deer. So
Right.
he was just a little forky. He didn't have a brow tine or anything. He had two on each side, and probably year and a half old buck. But
Mhm.
um, so we got him gutted and dragged out, all that good stuff, and got him processed. I think it ended up being like 20 pounds of ground meat, and then we had some steaks out of him. So, um,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, all you could ask for, like
Yep.
get on the board, get on the board. So
On the
no,
board.
it was really good. But no, so like I said, that one vein got knocked off. Well, what had happened, I'm pretty sure, is it got knocked off because that on the entry side, I went straight through the scap, which
Mhm.
I mean, that scap is pretty flat, and I mean, it's pretty tough. It's not like the toughest bone. It's not a femur where it's like really thick and heavy, but
Yeah.
it's just like a plate, and you're basically just shooting through this hard plate. And
Mhm.
I think what had happened, just one of the veins went through there and popped it off, and everything else went through. Um, Double lung. I didn't check to see if I caught any heart, but it it was double lung. So and then it went out, but the scap was the only bone it actually hit. So it hit the scap,
Okay.
went through the meat of the ribs on entry and exit, popped out, and then it nicked like one of the tendons on it, like his exit side front leg.
Okay.
So um, really clean shot, really well executed. I mean, I think 30 yards as the crow flies from the tree. I think he ran 35, 40, like around into that spot. So,
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't ask for much more. It was pretty sweet. So, um, yeah, that was the first one. So, if you haven't caught on by now, listeners, there has been 2 deer hit the ground, 2 bucks. So I don't know. I guess before we get to the second buck, any questions on the first one?
No, I don't think so.
Like I said, I mean, he's nothing like not a Pope and Young or anything crazy. No
Mhm.
crazy story of like. Well, I'll backtrack. I did give a little grunting sequence. This was October 30th when this one happened.
Mhm.
And so prior to that, I had a couple of other smaller bucks come in chasing a doe and doing a little bit of grunting. And so I was like, maybe I can get something riled up by doing a little grunt sequence. And so I did that with my old grunt call. And like there's a part to it that somehow fell off and is missing. And like I have to
Mhm.
like use my hand to cup around it to like make it work right. And if it's not like perfectly cupped, it sounds like awful, awful. And so
Right.
um I was able to get it to work just enough. And I had done that maybe 5, 10 minutes before this buck came in. He didn't come in with like a purpose, but he might have come into the grunt call. That's a maybe. But
Mhm.
I hadn't done any rattling. I didn't even have my antlers out there. Um, this would have been for sure pre-rut. Um,
Yep.
it had not definitely not picked up yet. And so, um, No, that was it on the first guy. So
That is very exciting.
very exciting. So
First buck
now to
hunting.
the
And
second
for
guy.
those of you who don't know, you can take 2 bucks in Tennessee
Yeah,
per year.
in our unit, you can take two. I think everything us and West is for sure two. I think there might be one unit in Tennessee that is only limited to $1.
Okay.
If not, it's still $2, but you're limited on your amount of does. But Middle Tennessee and West, those 3 or 4 units, you can get 3 does a day. So I'm still, I haven't filled all my tags technically because I can still shoot 3 does a day for the rest of the deer season if I wanted to. But I have filled both buck tags. So this one, it was this past Thursday, the November, what was that, 12th? 4 days ago?
I think it was.
Now I gotta look at a calendar. Sorry. 13th. Sorry, 13th.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was that Thursday. Um, so with daylight saving, so that last one, it was before daylight saving, so I was able to just like have a normal work day and get out there and everything was hunky dory, good to go. This one, um, I had to leave at lunch. So I left 2 hours early from work to get out there, just because every little bit counts, and we're starting to get to the point where there might be some rutting action. I wasn't seeing it on camera. I hadn't really got that many reports of rut action going on in the area, so it's like I'm not so sure. So I need to get out there and see, because they might be doing some daylight action. Um, and so leave work early, get out there, and I had just gotten my new Blackgate camera in, and so I'm like, okay, I'm excited. I want to get this camera hung up. I take that back. I had hung it in that same spot that I killed that first buck in, thinking, okay, that buck came through. There's got to be more deer coming through. Zero deer came through there ever since I shot that buck, and so at least on camera. So I was like, well, that ain't gonna work. Go in, take that camera down, move it to, like, I was just gonna go find a whole new spot. Like, I'm gonna go find some fresh deer sign, maybe hanging on a rub, scrape, something like that. So I go and I'm in scout mode. I'm like scouting for deer, scouting for trees, like everything. See fresh sign and try to hunt it. I walk around for probably hour and a half, 2 hours, and I really don't see all that much. I did end up seeing a really good track, and like I don't see very many of those
Mhm.
for some odd reason. But it was like definitely heavy, wide track with the dew claw. It was definitely like a nice buck going through
Yeah.
there, and so it's like there is a nice buck somewhere in here, and it had rained a few days earlier, so it was like this is fairly recent, but not recent enough to be like I need to sit over this track, and it wasn't like heavy enough traffic to be like, oh, he's coming through here all the time. So I
Yeah.
kind of just left that and kept going, and I had done like this full circle, and I had found that on my way back to where I started, and was like, okay, well, I'm heading the right direction. I had seen a lot of sign early on, not a whole lot in the middle, and then like now I'm starting to see sign again back towards where I started. So I'm probably going to end up setting up somewhere around this area where I had started, and keep walking. And then I get up to a spot where there's a really fresh scrape, but it's not like a really good scrape. It's just really fresh. You could see the scratch marks in the
Yeah.
ground, and but it wasn't like heavy use. So it was like, well, some animal or some deer use this to scrape right here. But there wasn't a good place to sit over it. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit over that, and there's no good place to hang the camera. So scratch that off the list. On the other side of this island of trees where that scrape was, there was just a bunch of heavy deer traffic sign, and it was another access road. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit this access road. I'm pretty sure the deer use it because earlier in the week I had seen a couple does use one of the access roads
Mhm.
by that other spot to get into a bean field. I'm like, so they use it. I know they do. Like it wasn't like a new revelation. It's like, okay, deer are like humans. They like the path of least resistance as often as possible. as long as it's
Yep.
safe for them, as long as they feel it's safe. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit on this little access trail and just see what happens. Sit, 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 nothing, nothing, nothing. And so I'm like, I had bought a new grunt call. I'm like, let's see how this new grunt call sounds. Get it out. All right, this sounds pretty good. Cool. That was like 3 o'clock, and sunset was like 4:45, something like that. So it was like I still got an hour or so, but who knows? Maybe something will come in. Nothing came in. I'm like, hmm. I thought I would have seen something by now. So sitting there, sitting there, sitting there, and then it got to like 45 minutes before sunset, and I'm like, if I want to see anything and get action from this grunt call, I changed the settings on it. It was on like trophy buck, and I changed it to mature buck. I was like, that might just be like too aggressive. So I took it back a notch or two, whatever, and messed with it. And I'm like, I'm gonna give a couple good sequences here, and then just sit it out until sunset, and just sit out the rest of the shooting light. Give him a nice grunt sequence, and again, 5 to 10 minutes later, here he comes, and he's coming right down this access trail, right to me. And so, I'm thinking, man, he came into that grunt call, sweet. But
Yeah.
this is a lot more open than the last spot, and so it's like I need to move quick. I didn't have my GoPro set up. I changed my setup on the camera, and so I'm like, how am I doing this? And I was doing it on my phone, and it was connected to my saddle, which is actually really convenient. And so I really like the way I have it set up now. But I was like, oh, and then I got to get my bow, and then I got to get it on the loop, and like it's still really tight quarters, so I know all of my shots are 20 or less. And so
Mhm.
I get it started recording, and you can see him probably 50 yards out coming like straight to me. Well, so then I've got my bow in hand, and he gets to a spot where he's kind of covered by some of the trees in front of me. And so I go to draw, and like I don't know how or why it went the way it went, but I got like halfway to 3/4 draw, and I was stuck. Like I
Oh.
could not draw anymore. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh no. And it's a little bit heavy. So I did bump it up to that 75-pound mod. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I've drawn, this isn't because I'm too weak to draw it back. Like I'm drawing back poorly. Like I have bad form right now, and it's making it like almost impossible to draw. So I think I had my front arm fully extended, and I was just doing all the work with one arm, and
Oh.
I was just stuck. And I was
Yeah.
like, I really want this buck because he's pretty nice. I mean, he's not a monster, but it's like he's twice as big as the last one. I want this
Yeah.
buck. And so I'm like, ugh, and like I like kind of I force it back, and I get it locked in, and I'm drawn like parallel to the way he's coming in. So like I'm not anywhere close to aimed on him.
Mhm.
And so then he's coming in, and then he gets behind another tree, and I'm like, all right, there's my chance to swing in on him. And I swing, and you can see my bow swing into frame on the camera. And
Mhm.
I mean, I know I did. I moved way too fast, but I got on him right away. And you can see my bow stop on him, and he looks right in my direction, maybe kind of right at me. I don't know. Interpretation might be up to the viewer, but he looked like right in my direction. So he busted me moving, and he was pretty frontal, um
Yeah.
looking toward like hard quarter 2, pretty much frontal. And again, I was held on him for a few seconds. He did like the fake stomp, and like he tried to like lower his head, but I could see his eyes, like he was lowering his head and trying to get me to move, but I was already
Mhm.
on him. Like I was aiming where I was wanting to aim, and I was like, man, like if he lifts his head and moves it right, like to his right, he's given me a whole lot of meat and
Yeah.
vitals to go for. I was like, I haven't ever done it on anything, let alone a deer. I know it's smaller than an elk, and a lot of people do it on elk, but I was like, if he gives me that shot, I'm so held on to this spot right now. I feel really good about it.
Mhm.
But again, my freaking keep was twisted sideways, and I could not see perfectly. I was like, dude, what is going on? And I was like, again, I can't let down. And so I'm like, I'm really relying on this left eye to see everything the way I need to see it. And I'm like, man, but I feel so good about where I'm held on this deer. I see my pin on him. And sure enough, as soon as I'm thinking all these thoughts in like microseconds, and he lifts and like turns his head to like look. I think he was looking behind him or like over to like make sure the coast was clear, and he was just gonna quick 180 pivot and go. And just in that split second, I was like, I'm on him. He gave me what I wanted. See ya. And it goes not as thick of a whack sound. And I was like,
Yeah.
I definitely hit him. I could see my arrow, the knock, like it passed through him because the arrow buried again. And the knock didn't blow out. So I was like, okay, I can see my arrow. And then, like, as I'm watching him, like, he busts into the woods, busts back into the access road, and then he goes and he stands right where, like, all these access roads intersect. And he just, like, stands there. And I was like, did I not hit him good? And then all of a sudden, he, like, does, like, a little lean. And then he, like, kind of stumbles to his right, like 5 yards, and he loops back to where he was standing before. And then he's just, like, doing the death wobble. And I'm like,
Yeah.
go down right there, go down right there. And he does, and he like it wasn't even like a heavy crash or anything. He was just done. And I was like,
Boom.
oh my God. Like, it's just such a good feeling to like hit them and
Mhm.
see them go down and know that you don't have like a super risky blood trail or anything like that. Like, you just have to sit there and make sure it doesn't get back up
Right.
and go away. And I was like, man, the way he went down, I feel really good about whatever I hit. And
Mhm.
so send my texts. I didn't make any phone calls. I might have made a phone call or two to like Caitlin or whatever, come up with a plan, because it was like, well, I'm not going to be home for supper. I thought I was because I wasn't seeing anything, but I'm definitely not going to be home for supper on time. So,
Yeah.
sorry, but you're welcome also for getting a deer. She's like, all right, sounds good. Let me know if you need help. And I was like, well, I don't need help blood trailing, but he's definitely going to be heavier than the last one. So
Mhm.
get down, go check the arrow, and holy cow, I've never had so much blood on an arrow. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is cool. And I go, and I was like, I didn't focus so much on the blood trail because it's like I see him. I
Yeah.
know he's right there, but I get like maybe 10 yards from him, 5-10 yards from him. He went maybe 40-45 yards from impact
Mhm.
to crash. And I get like 5-10 yards from him, and it's just like heavy trail of blood, just like somebody was pouring it out. And I was like,
Mhm.
this is cool. All right. And so I get up to him, and
Yeah.
you can see where he made his loop, like that blood made like a loop. And I was like, dang, this is nice. And get up to him. Yeah. So that shot was frontal,
Mhm.
like I had said, but it went like between the shoulder, like kind of where like the collarbone would be on a human. It was like
Yeah.
perfect, like through the collarbone. And then it came down and it exited like right before the guts. And so there was no guts hit. I got him like dragged out, and I did the gut pile in the middle of the field, so it wasn't like where the deer were coming through.
Yeah.
And I did a little, I guess you would call it a necropsy, just to see what all I hit. The one, obviously the left lung, but there's like two parts to each side of the lung. So there's like a bigger part and a smaller part. That front
Mhm.
part of the lung was just like totally collapsed and like a fourth of the size of the other three parts of the lung. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, so that it went through that lung like quick. And so I pull everything else out. I'm like, I wonder if I hit liver or heart or whatever. And sure enough, I get down to the heart, and at like the bottom third of the heart, there's just a perfect S shape of the broadhead through the bottom of the heart. And I was like, dude, that is so cool. Like a frontal shot from the tree and hitting the heart on a deer, and him going 40 yards and crashing. Like, that's cool. And so I mean, he's a pretty nice 8 point. He's not, again, not a monster, but like maybe 3 years old, 3.5 year old buck. He could be a two, but like twice the size of the other buck. So a lot more meat's going to come out of him. We haven't processed him yet, so I don't know how much ground or whatever we're going to get out of him. But I mean, his tenderloins are like 3 times the size.
Mm.
Back straps are going to be easily twice the size. So um, and that's what it's all about. Obviously, like we're going to have a
Right.
full freezer after those two, probably. If we don't, I do have the green light to fill the freezer. So shout out to my wife. She said, well, if it's not full, I guess maybe. But then I was like, well, we are going pretty heavy on planning on going heavy on ducks, so maybe we can get more ducks and fill the freezer with ducks. She's like,
Okay.
okay, whatever. She likes the venison more than the ducks, but
Heck
so
yeah.
yeah, man, it was cool. I mean, just from absolute like so my scouting going into that sit, I walked around and I was walking through one of these fields um to where I was like, I just want to see what's back in this area, and I'm just gonna cut across. I don't care if deer see me. I was walking into the wind, and sure enough, there were 4 deer sitting or bedded on the edge of that field in a pretty thick
Yeah.
spot, and I saw them get up and they tailed it upwind of me even further, and I was like, well, they were in a pretty thick spot where I figured they would probably be. I wasn't like really, I wasn't planning on like putting a stock on anything right there. Is like, I just want to see where the deer are at in this area. 'Cause it was totally different from where I'd been hunting. So I had
Yep.
seen deer and it's like, okay, I know there's deer back here, obviously, but like the sign just wasn't very heavy. And I was like, man, all right, let's go back. And, um, you know, I'm glad I trusted my gut to be like, go to where the sign is the heaviest. Don't go to where
Yep.
you like. I was like, I just want one good rub. And if I see a good rub, I'm going to sit it. And then I was like, why would you do that? Like, go to where you're seeing the most traffic. Like,
Hmm.
there's fresh tracks, um, and then thankfully I did see that scrape back really close to where I was wanting, like, thinking I needed to go. I was like, okay, there's sign of them doing more than just walking here. So
Hmm.
this is a good little area to be. And
Yep.
so, you know, both hunts, I give myself credit to on scouting the spot before sitting it. And neither
Hmm.
of these spots were scouted in the summer. So it was like, you know, yeah, you have a plan from summer, fall, and early season, but that doesn't mean you need to sit where you thought you were going to sit all year.
Right.
Like things change. The other spots that I had sat last year just were not producing.
Hmm.
And like on the other parts of the public unit that I hunt, and it was just like, man, if they're different here, they're different everywhere. They've got to be different everywhere, unless like because it's public land, you're not baiting them, feeding them, or anything like that. So it's like the predictability is really low. So it's like,
Hmm.
man, I need to reset myself on these hunts and go walk in and find fresh sign and sit the fresh sign. Don't sit where I feel like they should be just because they were there last year.
Right.
And so, I'm glad I did that and, had the awareness to be like, I need to reset and go do it right
Hmm.
because obviously it paid off. So,
Yep.
um, that and practicing shooting obviously helps, having the
Hmm.
confidence to, aim tight to the shoulder on that first one. And then I don't know. Again, I don't know why I felt so good on that frontal shot, but um, I will say that I give a decent amount of credit to the setup of being 715 grains with
Hmm.
a big single bevel 200 grain broadhead, um, and my whole arrow setup with the between the broadhead, the inserts, the arrow itself, just like so much confidence. Shout out Sirius Orion 250 or 200 spine, like
Hmm.
750 or 715 total grains. Like I had so much confidence in that setup. I was shooting it so well in my practice shooting. And then I was like, man, based on everything I understand about arrow weight and broadhead, like having a sharp broadhead and things like that, it's like
Hmm.
I feel not invincible because I know that can get out of hand and you don't want it to get out of hand. It was like I
Right.
feel so confident in my setup that I can aim tight to the shoulder when I need to at any angle, as long as it's an ethical and reasonable shot to take. I feel so confident in my ability to take that shot and make that shot that I should just do it. And so like that first one, broadside, makes sense. Send it.
Mhm.
Perfect exit, excellent entry, just at that angle, it hit the scap. But went through it like butter. The second one, that's where it's like, I don't think I would have taken that shot if I had my same setup as last year,
Yep.
because I would have been too nervous about not making it through a shoulder if he turned too quick,
Mhm.
or whatever. Like I wouldn't have been confident in a pass through or whatever. I just felt so confident that it's like, I'm gonna make my shot, I'm gonna execute my shot well, and if he turns and I hit him in the shoulder, like it's still gonna go through him, and it's gonna be like I'll be just fine. The arrow is gonna do its job.
Yep.
Um, he didn't react that much. He did have a little reaction. I'm gonna put the both. I don't know if I'm gonna do both hunts in one video or each their own separate one, just because they're not very long. But whatever.
Yep.
But you can see like he does not react that much, anyways. And so it was like, thankfully, because if he would have reacted more, who knows? Maybe it could have just been a clean miss. But didn't react much, and it just went right through him. And it's like I just had so much confidence in my setup that it's like between my shooting and my setup, it's like you're on him. He gives you that one movement that you need, take it, and he did. And it's like,
Mhm.
all right, it's over.
How long were you drop back for?
Maybe 20 seconds
Okay, not too bad.
between being stuck and like actually at full draw. It was maybe
Mhm.
20 seconds
That's not
of
bad.
of that whole thing. Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't like I was like. I think my total interaction from first hitting record to him going down, it was like 45 seconds.
Mhm.
If I recall looking at the timer on the video right. Like I had drawn maybe 5 seconds into after hitting record, 5 to 10 seconds after hitting record, and he was done after like 30 seconds. So
Yep.
maybe the whole interaction itself was a minute, but
Yep.
before it was over. And so, maybe drawn for 20, 25
Mhm.
seconds.
There you go. How does it feel to be probably one of the few? I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I don't know. People in Tennessee already having $2 down.
It's good. I mean, it's a really weird feeling, and I was talking to
Mhm.
Tanner about it too because we both have two deer. Spoiler alert
Mhm.
on that. I don't know. I'll try to get Tanner on here to give his stories of his deer, but um, man, it feels different. This is the first time I've ever had two deer in 1 year, which
Mhm.
is it's just different. I tried last year and other years in the past, but it's like I either got the one and was just like, all right, good enough, or got the one and couldn't get the second, just couldn't
Mhm.
couldn't finish the job, whatever. Um, it feels really weird to be like, I can't if I do go hunt, I can't hunt another buck.
Right.
I'm on doe patrol if I go. Um, but it feels really good. It's like very thankful, blessed, grateful for the situation and
Mhm.
my availability to be able to go and hunt on a weekday after work. Like I know that's rare. And so like
Yeah.
um given my situation, it's like this is how it should have been the last couple of years, but like
Mhm.
I am so like relieved that like I have two in the freezer and like I'm pretty well set for probably a year's worth of meat.
Yeah. That's huge.
So, and part of me was like I was like having the debate within my own head of like, man, I should have just waited on that first one. Um, you know, I could have waited for a bigger deer, like a bigger doe or a bigger buck, and it could have ended up with two bigger bucks. Um, Yada yada. But it's like, man, that was like that's selfish thinking to me.
Mhm.
Like that's being pretty selfish. Of like, it doesn't. It's not about the antlers, like the body size. Like that first one, only getting like 20 pounds of ground meat out of him. Like that means he's a small buck. And so it's like, man, if I could have just been patient and waited for a bigger deer and whatever. But it's like then I also think back and like you don't know if you're gonna get another opportunity at any other deer the rest of the year. He gave me the best opportunity any deer could have given me.
Right.
Broadside, like 5 yards from the tree, like that's a chip shot for pretty much anybody in
Yeah.
on any setup. It's like I hadn't filled any tags yet. We were out of meat from last year, out of venison from last year. So it's like, you want meat in the freezer, put meat in the freezer. Who cares
Yep.
about the antlers? So
Meat's
like
meat,
that,
man.
yeah, that's why I went with the first one. It's not
Yep.
like it's public land. It's not like I'm managing the property and it's like, man, I need to let these ones grow and only wait till they're 4 years old to take them, yada yada. It's like, take what you can get on public land. And
Yeah, seriously.
so
I think
there was like a
YouTube.
day where I had some regret and it was like, man, don't have regrets over taking a small one, because who knows? I could have gone the rest of deer season without having a close encounter and having another shot at another deer. So
Yeah, I think YouTube has kind of made that where like, oh, everyone's getting the biggest buck or biggest bull or
right.
whatever. It's all about the antler size. Like, who care? Like, you need to like. No, at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. Meat is meat, and you shot two this year, and then you should absolutely be proud of that. And because I guarantee you, there's not many folks in Tennessee. It's probably a single digit percentage that will shoot 2 bucks this year. So
Right. Yeah, it is. It's probably pretty unique. There are definitely others that have, but like you said, it's not a whole lot of hunters. And there's going to be a whole lot of hunters too that don't even fill a tag, which and to be able to fill two is still, it's cool. So, and like we said, it's about the meat, and if it were about the antlers, it'd be like, hey man, let's have the conversation of what are you really doing this for?
yeah,
Like, is it for the antlers? Because if that's the case, pay the money to go to like a high fence farm or something,
yeah,
or a private, like go to an outfitter, pay for an outfitter in Kansas and go get you a big antlered buck, and if that's what it's for. But like for me, it's like it's for the meat, and bones are a bonus. So I've got the meat, and the bones are a bonus.
mm-hmm.
And that first buck, the dogs love me because they
Sure.
I cut the antlers off of him and turned that into little chew toys for them. They're still chewing on it, but man, they're loving on those antlers.
I'm sure they're happy, happy,
Yeah,
happy pups.
they're perfect little chew toys.
Did you just hear Chance just now?
Shaking.
No, he
Or
was whining.
oh no, I didn't hear him.
Okay, good.
I heard his collar. But
Oh yeah, he came running downstairs. It's almost time for him to eat, so
yeah,
it's okay, I'm hungry.
I think
But
it's our time to eat here soon too. But
it's congratulations.
thank you.
That is those big time hunt highlights episode talking about not one but 2 bucks down.
Yeah, within
That
2 weeks. So
awesome.
I'm hoping I can get Tanner on, convince him to do a podcast episode with me again.
When was the
Um,
last time you did a podcast?
it was over a year ago, I think, or at least a
It's
year ago now.
it's been a minute.
Yeah. So, I'm hoping I can get him on to tell his stories, and like I said, he's gotten two already too. So, a doe and a buck. Spoiler alert! Sorry, everybody, but yeah, it'll be cool to get his story, just because you know you don't always get all that success. So
Nope.
it's fun to share them, and but yeah, it'll be cool to get his perspective, hopefully.
Yep, it will. Now I just need to get on the board. I still
Yeah,
have
you
that
you still got
deer
a deer
tag.
tag to fill, so
I still have one. I got till into December to do it. So,
get them bows restrung, get them out there.
yep, I'll have my bow back this week, and here we go. Get one. I think if I can get it back this week, I'm gonna definitely try for next weekend for sure.
Okay.
Try to get out there, and then cross my fingers.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get something. I'm definitely it's a either sex tag, but I definitely want to go for a buck because
Yeah.
well, why not? If it comes down to it, and if I have to get a doe, that's okay too.
Hey,
So,
bones are a bonus, but we like bonuses.
yep, we do.
Yeah, they're fun.
Well,
No, I'll give one more little plug. Shout out Sirius Arrows. In their whole setup. Yep, he's got the supernovas. I'm I'll say this, little preview to the future. I am considering changing which arrow I use. For not because of performance, just because I feel like tinkering, but might be changing my arrow for next year. But yeah, shout out Sirius Orion's 200 spine, 715 grains with the Ranch Fairy tough head up front, Ethics 170 grains on the insert. So yeah,
heck yeah,
did the job, baby.
So, well,
all right, man. Well, that'll wrap it up. Any closing thoughts, Brucey?
No closing thoughts on my ends. Just congratulations on the 2.
Thank you. We'll get you a deer.
Yes, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It's happening, baby. All right. Well, appreciate you guys listening. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
See ya.
See ya.